Okay, ladies and gentlemen, last chance for me to make it inside 10 minutes. 41 cards for colorless on Champions of Kamigawa. So first card is Boseiju. Let's go through some of the lands. They have a surprisingly good amount of good lands here. So this is a legendary land and Legacy Modern Commander All-Star. And it comes into play tap. You can pay one life, add colorless to your mana pool, and if that mana is spent on an instant or sorcery spell, that spell can be countered by spells or abilities. I don't know how good this is in limited. In constructed, this is pretty important. Against counter in combo decks against counter spell decks, this is very good. Yeah, so that's as much as it. I think if you are in the arcane archetype, maybe it comes up in the sideboard. I don't know if your opponent has counter spells. Cloudcrest Drake. So this is yeah. So this is very slow fixing land. So you either add a colorless mana or white or a blue, and then it doesn't untap during your next untap step. Yes, these are pretty bad. These are much worse than a Guild Gate, and they come uncommon. The art is pretty good on that though. And there's a cycle of five of them, by the way. So let's just go through them quickly. So there's the Lead Green, Lantern Lit Graveyard. There is the Pinecrest Ridge. And then there is, let me see, Tranquil Garden. Yeah, and Waterware Cavern. So these are the, yeah, so these are the ones which we have, and they come into play that they're very slow. So if you have an absolute bomb in your deck in an off color, then you can play these. Otherwise, I wouldn't really bother. And then we have rare lands in every color, and these are kind of replicated in the new Kamigawa set, the Neon Dynasty. So they basically historical place in Kamigawa. Iganjo is the white one. It's a legendary land, taps for white, it comes into play on tap, and it always has the ability for legendary creatures. So this one prevents the next 2 damage to a legendary creature. These are very powerful. I think you always play these. Forbidden Orchard. So this is an interesting trade-off because this is a land that taps for any color of mana, but your opponent gets a 1/1 not flying spirit token. So these are not as bad. Yeah, I mean, again, if you have bombs or you are playing multiple colors, like maybe you are the Honden deck, then this might be a card. But otherwise, yeah, it has a pretty good downside. Hall of the Bandit Lord. So this is a also land comes into play tap. You pay 3 life, add a colorless mana, and if it was spent on a creature spell, it gets haste. And it's a legend. Also, with any creature spell. So yeah, this is actually pretty good. There are some very good cards in there. Yeah, you always play this in limited. So yeah, Minamo. So this is the legendary blue land, and then you add a blue color mana, or you tap one and a blue, and then on tap target legendary permanent. That's pretty good too. Pseudo vigilance. Yeah, the Okinawa Temple of the Grandfather. So this is a green one. Also taps for a green and tap. Target legendary creature gets +1/+1 to end of turn. Yeah, pretty powerful. And let's find the other one. Oh yeah, Shinka, the Bloodsoul Keep. So this one for red and a tap, target legendary creature gains first strike until end of turn. And then Shizo, that's his storehouse. So this one for black and a tap, target legendary creature gives fear. Yeah, these are all pretty powerful. So yeah, so the monocolored legendary lands you always play. And then I have my first artifact here. So I think this is a limited bomb, Orochi Hatchery. So it's XX for an artifact. And Orochi Hatchery comes into play with X charge counter on it. So for 6 mana, you get 3 counters. And then for 5, put a 1/1 Grey Snake creature token into play for each charge counter on Orochi Hatchery. So yeah, if you play this for 4 and start tapping it, like your opponent will have a very hard time ever killing you, and eventually this just takes over the game. So it's like an A+. Plus. And it's colorless too, so it's not really hard to fit into any deck. So you kind of first pick it and then you go from there. Oh, sorry, and there's another land here, Untied the Cloud Keeper. So it comes into play tap, and you can pay 2 life, add 2 to your mana pool, spend this mana only to play legendary spells. So notably, this does not tap for mana otherwise, and only costs legendary spells. I don't know how many legends you need in your deck for this to fly, but it's a pretty big acceleration. Like 2 mana ahead of schedule, that could be pretty good even in this format. So I don't know, it's a decision. And now we get to the artifacts. So yeah, so there's some hit and miss here. So Hankyu, this is a 1 mana arrow, or bow, rather. And equip says 4 to equip, 1 to cast. Equip creature has tap, put an aim counter on Hankyu, and then you can tap, remove all aim counters on it. This creature deals damage to target creature or player equal to a number of aim counters removed. Whew. This is super slow. So if the format is very slow, this might be a good card in there. 'Cause you can fireball them out, but it's 4 to equip. Like, oof. Yeah, I don't know. Like, give it a try if you want, but I don't think this makes a cut. So Sensei's Divining top, Legacy, Modern, until it was banned, All Star, and then Commander All Star. So this is a very innocent looking artifact, but it has great power. So it's a 1 mana artifact. For 1 mana, you can look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. So you technically dig 3 deeper for your answers, which I think is very powerful and limited. And then for tapping, you can draw the card and then put Sensei's Divining top on top of that library. So yeah, so you can get access to that card immediately if you really need it. So I think it's super powerful card. Journeyer's Kite, so it's a 2 mana artifact, and tap, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. Yeah, this is your 5 color deck opening if there's a 5 color deck existing here. So yeah, draft it accordingly. Konda's Banner, this is a super powerful card. So it's a 2 mana legendary artifact, equip 2. It's an equipment, and then Konda's Banner can be attached only to a legendary creature, which is the drawback. But the creatures that share color with the equipped creature gets +1/+1, and creatures that share the type with it gets +1/+1 too. So if it's equipped to a white samurai, then every white samurai gets +2/+2, and every red samurai gets +1/+1. So yeah, it's pretty good. Nodachi. So this is an uncommon sword. It's 2 mana and equipped for 3, and an equipped creature gets +2/+0 and first strike. Wow. Yeah, like the first strike really carries this card. I think it's actually a very good card. Raito Lantern, so it's 2 mana artifact, and for 3 we can put target card from a graveyard on bottom of its owner library. I don't see any applications of this unless you are playing a deck that might draw so many cards it attacks itself, and then you can reshuffle some of it. I don't know. Yeah, like this one is this one is not particularly good. I think in limited. Honor Worn Shaku. So this is a 3 mana artifact. It's a mana rock at a colorless mana, and then tap and untap permanent legendary permanent you control, untap it. That's actually pretty good. It can get you multiple mana if you have a legendary creature. And in this set, you have legendary creatures in lower rarities too. So then we have Imi Statue. It's a 3 mana artifact. Players can't untap more than one artifact during their untap step. Now this one is actually a constructed card. It was printed after Mirrodin, and that's the reason why this is here. Because the artifact or affinity decks were absolutely obnoxious, and this was the answer for this. Don't play it in limited. Kusarigama, it's a 3 mana artifact equipment. An equipped creature has 2 mana. This creature gets +1/+0, so it's a colorless fire breathing. And when equipped creature deals damage to blocking creature, this gives that much damage to each other creature defending player controls. Equip 3. I think this is very very good. Yeah, this is unbelievable. They can block the creature and they die to the fire breathing. So yeah, really really good. Long Forgotten Goe. It's a 3 mana artifact. Arcane spells you cost 1 less to cast. Spirit creatures you control gets +1/+1. So it goes into both stack. I think it's a solid rare. You want to pick it and draft around it. Nine Ring Bow. It's a 3 mana artifact. And then for tap, Nine Ring Bow deals 1 damage to target spirit creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Very, very specific, but spirits are important on Kamigawa, so this kind of is a pseudo removal. Well, start at the sideboard and you will see how that goes. Oathkeeper, Takano's Daisho. So it's a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+1, and it's 2 to equip, solid stat line. And whenever equipped creature dies, return that creature to the battlefield under your control if it's a samurai card. When Oathkeeper is put to the graveyard from the battlefield, exile equipped creature. Really, really good. So the sword, comes with the samurai and vice versa, and protects it or resurrects it. Yeah, super cool flavor, and it's a powerful card too. Shell of the Last Kappa, so it's 3 mana legendary artifact. For 3 mana, exile target instance or sorcery that targets you. And for 3 and tap, you can sacrifice this and cast one of the exile spells without playing that mana cost. I don't think this comes up too much in limited, so there you go. I think it's more like a constructed card against Burn. Tenza Godot Small, it's 3 mana legendary artifact equipment, 1 to equip. An equipped creature gets +1/+1. As long as it's legendary, it gets an additional +2/+2. So it's +3/+2. As long as it's red, it has trample. Wow. Like in this set, this is very, very good. Almost all the rare creatures are legendary. So yeah, there you go. This is super cool. Generous Kabuto, I think this is very powerful as well. This is 4 mana equipment. Equipped creature has Shroud. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to equipped creature. And equip 2. Yeah, like the creature becomes unbeatable. So yeah, there you go. Like looking for a good card. Jade Idol, 4 mana artifact. Whenever you cast a spirit or arcane spell, Jade Idol becomes a 4/4 spirit artifact creature until end of turn. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, solid body, and then like they can only target with instant speed stuff. Yeah, very very good. Or well, not like insanely good, but it's good. Junko as well. So it's 4 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may have target creature you control get +6/+6 at the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. If you do, sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step. I think this is good actually in the late game. Like your 1/1s can easily become 5/5, and they were irrelevant anyway in a limited game at that point, so sacrificing them is not that big of a deal. Uba Mask, so this used to be played in Modern, it's a 4 mana artifact. If a player would draw a card, that player exiles that card face up instead. Each player may play lands and cast spells from one cards that they exiled with Uba Mask. So yeah, so this used to be a combo. If anything prevents your opponent from casting spells from exile, then this becomes one-sided. Here, it's not that interesting, I would think. So yeah, you don't play it. Wounding Mirror, it's a 5 mana artifact. Whenever you draw a card, exile the top card of your library face down. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile all cards from your hand face down. If you do, put all other cards you own exiled with Moving Mirror into your hand. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a replacement effect, so that lets you draw like two cards. I think is actually good. And then Headstrong Koto is a 6 mana artifact, and tap an untap creature you control, target player deals a card. I think this is very good. Like you can tap multiple cards. So in multiple turns you can just mill them out like 4 turn. Yeah, this is super powerful. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit behind again, but I think there's a lot of cool cards here. So can't wait to see what the team is drafting on this one. And yeah, again, I think it's a cool set. So let's go tomorrow.